Topic says it all. HP coming out with its own OS. Question? Well, let's look at HP lately. We know they're unhappy with Windows and Vista. They were talking UI redesign. Microsoft said go ahead. But the relationship between OEM and Microsoft has always been kind of a love-hate relationship. So there's been a lot of talk on the net as far as HP coming out with its own Nix or Linux distribution-based OS. Now, that's a big hit to HP because you're talking open source, free. What? No, and I don't mean free as in beer or free as in price. I mean free as in freedom, the freedom of choice, freedom to do with that what you will. No restrictions. However, being that it's HP, let's look at the HP's back record for what we call open source or open printer drivers. Yeah, open source printer drivers. Those are real good, HP. Let's see. What else can we talk about for HP and their reality of HP? HP in relation to other things, they've tried a Nix-based OS before, HP UX or HP Unix. Not as easy as it looks, is it, man? Not as easy as making an operating system looks, is it, HP? No. Just things like their printer drivers not working, their contributions to the Fox community being very, very limited, as much as they say they contribute. I still say probably IBM and Sun have done more for FOSS than HP has done. Now most HP printers do work with Linux or any Nix or BSD type system. So what are the consequences of HP making its own OS? HP is currently the #1 computer maker in the world. Now I'm talking consumer, business, and everything else. They are the #1 PC manufacturer in the world. Now you can argue Apple's a PC manufacturer all you want. This is the thing that a lot of these computer companies, OEM companies now notice, that there has been a resurgence in Apple, not just because of the "Hi, I'm a Mac, hi, I'm a PC" commercials. Those have helped tremendously, don't get me wrong. However, the thing they've noticed is there's a slickness to Apple products. The one thing that HP and other OEMs are going to have to remember if they go this route of making their own OS or basing it off a open source type OS like Linux or BSD, whatever type of code they want to base their OS off from, is it's not just the product you put out. That's something that captures the mind. It doesn't have to be just aesthetically pleasing. That's nice. It's how do you win over your customers so they come back to you. This is what Apple has gotten down, hands down, over all the other OEMs with AppleCare. They have something like, a 97, 98% rating as far as customer satisfaction. In the computer business, that's huge. When you look at companies like HP and Dell and all these other people that have such a bad rep in the computer community, internet community, as horrible for customer support, like downright horrible for getting tech support. You guys have to learn to outclass your competition if you guys go down this route. And I hope you really do. Because I believe the more competition there is on the OEM level, the less Microsoft, not this monopoly unified platform bull they spew, that you're going to find, while you can have more control over your core components and your less tech support issues, that people will determine how they come back to you based on your services, not just your hardware. Now hopefully HP does go through this. More competition, the better. Drives innovation, drives prices down. Because there will be someone always nipping at your heels. And an open source OS based, BSD based licensing type atmosphere, as opposed to the current EULA agreements. So that's my outlook on it. Let's see what you guys got to say.